very excited to be here. I'm a huge fan of the show and all of you, and it's hard to say goodbye. And so, Hugh, I wanted to start by asking you, what would you say, if you could say something to the fans about this kind of farewell and how you'd hope people will remember and stay with it?
Oh, well, I think first of all, bring a hanky, because you are going to be saying goodbye to all these characters that you've been so generously following for all these years. The sense of farewell is potent, and the sense of change and the sense of closing things down. Well, not necessarily closing things down, but closing down this chapter, finishing this chapter. You know, the castle still stands, but the characters that you've you've taken to your hearts are leaving or are finishing their journey. So it's a lovely farewell. It's a positive, joyful experience, but not without emotion.
Are there pieces of your characters that you each think will stay with you as life goes on, or will you leave them behind as memories? Or do they kind of, because you played them for so long now, will they linger in your day to day? Do you ever think of them, or do they ever come to you in life?
Yeah, when you play something for so long, it's almost like it's a very large drawer in a filing cabinet that you can go and you can open and you can access. But once you're finished after this long, I kind of feel you can close it. And I don't know if anything's going to seep out into the rest of my career or in my life, but I love playing them. And I think, part of it does get ingrained into your own threads of your own existence, don't they? So it's hard to say, really.
Yeah, I think there's a sort of a melding of, one's own character and the character that Julian has written. That's what we bring as actors. You bring a certain amount of yourself. And so, obviously some of it's going to linger. Some of it will. Hopefully it's not all of it.
You mentioned Julian, and I'm curious because you're a writer at this point in the story, a writer within the writing. Do you and he talk about the meta layer of that, or
no.
Do you discuss to him? Right? No,
no,
not at
no.
all.
I did chuckle to myself when he writes that line about the writers are the real stars of the film world. So he clearly had
trying to send a message.
Yeah, he was clearly sending a message out there.
Hugh, is there a moment from shooting this film that will stay with you as kind of the signature for you personally, like emotional moment performing on set or interacting with the others?
The one that's there were several, but the one that's just popped into my head is when Robert does make a speech. This is no spoiler because Focus Features have shown the entire plot online already. When Robert stands up in front of all the neighbours at this grand dinner and says, "It's time for me to pass on the baton to Lady Mary," that felt like a very natural gear change in the story, but also quite an emotional one because he's finally relinquishing the crown, and it's taken him a bit of a struggle to get there, but he's finally over the line and is now actually going to embrace the change, as so often has happened in the show all the way through. He'll be resistant, and then Tom Branson or Lady Mary or particularly Cora will just shove him over the edge, and then he's all for it.
He'll have a happy life, won't he?
Oh yes, I think they'll be happy at the in the next chapter. Yeah.
Do you think they'll talk much?
Yeah.
No, they won't talk.
Crosswords and things like that.
Yeah.
Good day.
That'll be about it.
And I want to ask before I wrap about another project. The Westies is coming. I'm sure you've been shooting it lately. What's something about that you're excited for audiences to see? It seems like a really fun project.
It is a very fun project, yeah, and you couldn't be further from Downton. It's a very, very gritty telling of a true story, which is the Westies, which was the Irish gang that took on the mafia in Hell's Kitchen in 1980, and it's brilliantly written. It's Chris Brancato who brought you Narcos, so you can already kind of feel the vibe of what's going on there. And yeah, when you're watching someone get their head fully caved in, you tend not to think of Downton. Yeah, you don't. Or someone gets riddled with bullets. But it's a lot of fun, I have to say, and it's kind of like Peaky Blinders meets The Sopranos.
Mm.
Thank you all so much. I have to wrap. I appreciate your time and great work, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, cheers.
Best.